today's episode, we are addressing something that all of us, and ladies, you especially, fear at one time or another, and that is getting your ring stuck on your finger. Many things can cause that to happen, but the biggest thing you need to remember is not to panic. It is something that can be remedied, and it is something that in almost all cases can be remedied at home. We first will show you how to do it with non-mechanical means, and then in the event of a severe emergency, when you need it removed quickly, we're going to show you how to do that as well. But all of it done at home. You do not need to go to the emergency room, nor do you need to go to the hospital with those rings on. We're going to show you exactly what it takes for you to do that successfully by yourself at home. So let's get started. Okay, so within moments, I was able to assemble 4 quick, easy methods for you to start in what works best for your particular situation in removing that ring. Now, first again, we said don't panic. Go and get some of the liquid window cleaner. First, the reason why it won't get your ring dirty, obviously. Secondly, it contains an ingredient that makes it very slick. Now, that's the first stage. And what you want to do, just slightly bend the knuckle. Don't keep your finger straight because you can bunch the skin up. Bend the knuckle and just wipe that on. Try it that way. Now, if that doesn't work, let me add this. Don't use any kind of skin cream or hand lotion. Reason being, it absorbs and is designed to absorb into the skin. There goes the lubrication. Alternatives to that, you can use something as simple as chapstick. Just take some of that, wipe it on that area. It provides a much stronger lubrication without dissipating or being absorbed. If you don't have that, or as another alternative, go to the medicine cabinet and get out what would be equivalent to some of this stuff, or a Vaseline type of material, thickness, viscosity, fancy words. That's really thick. That's going to give you the maximum amount of lubrication without causing any harm in any way. Now, that said, if none of the above work and your problem is your finger's swollen, the best thing you can do next is very effective. Maybe a little bit discomforting to you, but ice water. And as you can see here, I have ice just mixed in a little cup with the water, deep enough that I can submerge the finger with the problem and the ring. Now, let me add this. It is very cold, depending on the ambient room temperature. Remember, some gemstones don't like a temperature change. All I do is take a little bit of that cold water and just start dabbing it on top of the ring beforehand. So thereby slowly changing the temperature and dropping it before I plunge it into the cold water. So just keep that in mind. Most cases, that temperature change isn't going to affect it, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. Now, in that ice water, it's not an instant fix. It could take several minutes and upwards of even 10 minutes. Now, you're going to feel a uncomfortable situation. You take your finger out for a few minutes or even a minute, then put it back in. You don't think it will work after a few minutes? Well, you haven't done it long enough to make sure that that is not an option. You want to be able to try that method for as long as 10 minutes, because I have had success, not after 3, not after 5, but it has taken that long. And believe me, it is so well worth it to take those extra minutes to find that solution before the next step that would be necessary. And we're going to show you that. So, if all else has failed with our liquid and other means of getting that ring off your finger, you're, I know, still thinking about panicking. Don't do it. we're not done with our solutions yet. Now is the time to get out the tools. Very simple. Almost everyone, if not everyone, has a form of some type of wire cutter. And in my case, it's not even a fancy jeweler's wire cutter, just a standard wire cutter. It costs about $5 at a hardware store. So we have that tool. Then I have 2 pairs of needle nose pliers, each one opening up at a little bit different angle and amount. Now, we'll show you what those are for momentarily, but what we need, since I'm going to show you how to do this as a one-man show first, is this other pair. Now, it is a round nose plier. Now, I'll be using that because it'll leave the least amount of tool marks on your ring. But if you're also by yourself and don't have a round nose plier, with a lot of people don't, then one of these needle nose will work just fine. It just may leave a little bit of a nick, but so what? That's not important when it comes to your safety and security. Again, no point in leaving your ring on if you expect to go to the hospital, or if you think you need to go to the hospital just to have your finger taken off. Not needed. All right, so let me show you exactly in real time, as far as the item goes, just how to do that. Oh my, a beast has stung me, or I have accidentally dropped something on my hand. The ring is stuck on my finger. I've got to get it off now. I can't wait any longer. It's swelling up. I have my cutters. I take it over here to the middle of the center of the back of the shank, and I push it up underneath. There's always enough room, and I apply pressure and snap. We have cut the ring in two. It will work just as easily for gold, silver, white gold, any of those. We have the ring cut apart. Still won't come off the finger though. So we get our other pair of pliers, and this is what you do next. You bring the pliers over to the ring, you put it back underneath, you see how both sides are there, and then with your other finger, you can open up that ring by pushing on the other lever of the plier until you feel like you have created a big enough gap. Let's see if we have, and let's see if that ring comes off the hand. As simple as that. And you have not destroyed your ring. It can be easily put back together by any jeweler and for a minimal amount of money. Plus, you have allowed yourself for you to keep control of your ring, not someone at the hospital who takes it off and then who knows exactly what happens to it. Because remember, a lot of people come into an emergency room not expecting to have an emergency, and the hospital, first thing they have to do is remove your jewelry. You don't want them to have control, especially if you know you're going to the hospital. You take it off yourself. That way, you're assured of its security. And it's as simple as I just showed you. So, we have showed you multiple methods of how to remove your ring in the case of what normally is a panicky situation. First, try the household chemicals, moving up to a very thick type of substance so that it gives you the maximum amount of lubrication. Now, if that doesn't work, don't panic yet. We showed you how to do it mechanically. If you have someone else there to help you, all the better, because if your shank is much thicker, a second person with 2 pliers will make that even go much easier. Key thing is, though, is you're in control of your ring. You want to stay in control of that ring. You can remove it yourself with no problem, and we just showed you how in the How Do You series. So make sure, tell your friends and neighbors exactly what you saw and how interesting it was and how much you learned. Tell them that there's other episodes as well, and I'm going to look forward to seeing you behind the bench once again in another How Do You series with Shawn from Gem Collectors with Shawn. Thank you.
you.